Hello, good morning to you. It is Monday, the 29th of September. I'm going to be showing you how to make some lovely necklaces today. I've called them Patrice. I'm using the most beautiful crystals, the gorgeous colours. I'm going to do a little bit of a mix, I think, for you today in terms of demonstrating. But we're going to be making kind of layers, I suppose, with them, and we're going to be doing some wrapped loops and using lots of lovely little connectors and some very pretty chain. So I hope you're all well. I hope you've had a nice weekend. My weekend didn't go as planned. We probably have a little helper maybe pop in a little bit later. He's very upset I'm not letting him be on the live this morning, but I've told him he can come and say hello. We ended up with emergency surgery on Friday night, so he's well, he's home, but he's recovering and off school, so he would like to get involved, so I'll let him pop in a little bit later maybe. Good morning to Sally. She says good morning everybody from sunny Barnsley. It's very sunny here in Liverpool as well, so yeah, a nice bright day. I'm going to take you over to the website now and I'm going to show you our lovely make so you can have a little look exactly with what I'm making with today. So if you would like to get your kits, head over to totallybeads.co.uk and you can head into the video tutorial section, which should just be around here. Hopefully technology will play ball with me today. I've had a few issues with links and whatnot this morning, so hopefully it's all working okay. These are the Patrice crystal necklaces that I'm going to be making, and these are the colours that you can choose from if you would like to get your hands on this kit. So they're already discounted for you. They're just £11.24 each, and we are getting enough to make 2 necklaces in each of these. So we've got a gorgeous aquamarine, a lilac, a plum and a sky blue. They're all on silver coloured bindings, and wait till you see these connectors and wait till you see these crystals. If I head into the aquamarine one, you can see it's the colour of these that are aquamarine. What I'm using is these beautiful crystal round 8mm. These are an AB mix opaque aquamarine colour, and they're really beautiful. They've got kind of like a sea foamy green to them. I'm also going to be using 2 of the antique silver metal connectors. There's the dimensions for you there so you can have a little look. I'm going to be using 2 sizes of jump rings as well. I'm going to be using 5x1 outer diameter and 6x1 just for the clasp. The clasp is a lobster clasp, which is 12mm. I'm using these little silver connectors, which have got 2 little holes. They look like little bows or little sweeties. And then we have this gorgeous oval 4mm figure of 8 chain as well. So I will show you that down on the mat. This is how they look. So I'm just going to be making wrapped loops on these beautiful 8mm beads, and then we're just going to be connecting them all together. It's all been measured out, so you can adapt this and you can change this if you want to. You can change it in 2 different ways. You can of course add or remove certain connectors within these layers down the bottom, or of course you can just change the size of your chain. I'm going to be using 30cm, which is about 12 inches of the chain, and I've cut that in half, so 15cm or 6 inches on either side to sit around the neckline, but of course you can adapt that if you want to. So your kits today are going to make 2 necklaces in whichever colour you choose. We're going to use these crystal beads. We've got spacer bar connectors, jump rings, clasps, chain, and there is no tiger tail wire in this. Don't know why that's been put down on your kit. I'm not using tiger tail, I'm using wire, and I'll double check on the description that you make sure you get that in your kit. It's a 0.5mm wire that I'm using. So really easy to make those little wrapped loops. You could use a 0.6 if you prefer. I'm just going to be using the 0.5 today. It's nice and fine but still sturdy and strong for a wrapped loop. So that's Patrice crystal necklace in aquamarine. We also have it in the lilac, which is very pretty. The chat has changed. Oh, I'm just popping back into the comments just to check sound and everything's okay. So this one is the lovely lilac one. So in here, you're getting all the same things, but you're having those AB Mix Opaque Lilac Crystal 8mm rounds. We have a plum, which is really pretty. It's a pink. I'd say it's a pink with a touch of other things. That's your AB Mix Opaque Plum. Again, everything else stays the same. And then we also have the Sky Blue, which is, of course, a beautiful light blue. They look like they've got little clouds on them. So lots of lovely pastel-y colours really for you today with those opaque mixes. Really pretty crystals and lots of fun, but very easy to make. So they're all £11.24. They're all discounted for you already, and you get enough to make two in your kit. So of course you could make something else. You could make a bracelet with them. You could make one very long or layered necklace, I suppose, if you prefer to put those together. And of course you can change your currency here at the top of the page. So let me head back into the comments and I will see if anybody's got any questions. If there's anything you need to know, do drop me a question, or just let me know what you've been up to. Hopefully you've had a less stressful weekend and you're all well and good. Good morning to Rachel in Brightborough. Thanks, Jan. She says this make is beautiful. Joanne says she's in a cold but sunny Coventry. Good morning to Camille. She says, how are you on your lovely morning? Poor babe, big hugs. He's okay. It was scary. It wasn't nice. It's not nice seeing anyone you love in pain, but obviously he's with me Baba. So yeah, it's been a very emotional weekend. Good morning to Yolanda. She says, good morning everybody. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend. Jan sends in best wishes. Thank you very much. Why is the chat changed, Camille? What's different? I mean, I said settings were odd this morning. I'm not being able to find my address book or anything in my emails to send links. So hopefully it's not an issue on my part. Good morning to Mina. Hello to Kath. Good morning to Joanne, who says beautiful crystals. She says no, she thinks it's just her. Good morning to Lisa. Thanks, Joanne. Hi, Izzy. She says, are you going to be doing the Christmassy doing a couple of craft fairs? I don't know at the moment. I did have a craft fair kind of arranged at the beginning of Christmas, but I don't know. I'm hoping to take a little bit of time off and spend it with family. Obviously, it's not been well. Last Christmas wasn't great for me, so I don't know. I'm just going to play it by ear, but I know I need to be organised because it'll soon be upon us. So I'm going to take you down on the mat, and I'm going to show you now. In fact, before I do, I'm going to lift them up. I've got a few of them together on the bust here, so you can see how they look if you wanted to layer them up. If I take them off and just so you can see how one sits, they look like that. They're really, really pretty and very, very sparkly. I want to show you them on the bust because when I take you down on the mat, they don't sit right, do they? They're meant to sit pretty. They're meant to hang, and gravity's meant to do its thing. So I'll show you this beautiful aquamarine blue coloured one. Oh no, this one was the aquamarine. This one was the sky blue. So this one is the sky blue one, and I'll show you all the bits and bobs we have here. There's a delay on the camera, but you should be able to see. There we go. So, is that okay? Are we a bit blurred? We're a bit blurred, and we're a bit. Are we fuzzy everywhere else? It's not going well, is it? There's a big delay. So these are the lovely beads that I'm going to be using today, and the lovely connectors too. So the connectors look like this. And I'm going to be able to hang 3 lovely strands from that. I'm using this beautiful figure of 8 chain. There you go. Sorry, there's all sorts going on outside. going to be one of those days. So I'm using 2 lengths of that. And so they're going to be about, I've got 30 centimetres in total. That's going to be about, so that is 12 inches. And that's going to be halved. So 15 centimetres on either side or 6 inches on either side. That's going to be enough to go around the neckline here. Little lobster clasp. And then the other little connectors that I'd like to show you are these ones. They look like little sweeties, like little bows. So 2 loops either side to connect. And I'm going to do a little mix today of the beads. So I'm going to use these gorgeous plum pink coloured ones. Can you see the AB coating on that? I'm hoping, despite the camera, you can see. They're very, very pretty and very, very twinkly. We've got these aquamarine ones here. Good morning, Monica. Oh, good. Yolanda says, it's not fuzzy here. It's very clear. I just think it was having a moment. And then we have these gorgeous ones here, which are the lilac. And then we have these beautiful sky blue ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make wrap loops. When I'm making layers, if I bring them to show you, make sure this one's just flipped around. Can you see that one there? I'm going to have 2 beads on the top. So I'm going to do a mix here. I'm going to mix the colours. So I'll probably put those plum ones at the top. Then I want 3 on the next row. So I'm going to use a mix of the aquamarine and the lilac. And then I want 4 on the bottom. So I'm going to do some more of the lilac and some of the blue. And I'm going to pop them like that. So they're going to be my layers. So 2, 3, and 4. And we're just going to connect them really simply with the different connectors and things that we've got. Well, first of all, I'm going to make wrapped loops. So I want double-ended loops, so a double-ended connector so you can attach from either side. So I'll put these out of the way for now, and we'll start getting these made. So I'm going to use a 0.5 millimeter wire for this. It's nice and fine, but as I say, it's strong enough to make a wrap loop. And I'm going to cut about 6 centimeters or 2 inches of this. And that's going to be enough for one of my wrap loops. I'm just going to need my cutters, and I'll probably need some chain nose, or I'll need some round nose pliers. So I'm going to cut about 2 inches there or thereabouts. You don't have to be too precise. It's just got to be enough to fit the bead on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it probably about 1/4 of the way down. So I'm going to leave myself, let's measure it, shy of 1 inch, about 2 centimeters down from the tip. And I'm going to give it a little bend like so. Lots on my mat, so it'll struggle to watch. I'm then going to move my pliers up. I only want a small wrap loop, so I'm using the smaller end of my pliers. And I'm going to bring that round the top, all the way round till it crosses over underneath, and it looks something like that. So I've got that little loop at the top. I'm going to pop it back into my round nose pliers to give myself some purchase, and with my chain nose or tweezer nose pliers, I'm just going to do little half turns, so it goes across the front and across the back, and I'm moving that wire down below, so the wraps aren't wrapping over the top of each other. They're going just underneath. And I'm going to do about 3 wraps. You can cut off any excess if you want, or you can just make sure you squeeze it in. So I'm just going to take that little tip and push it in so we haven't got any scratchy parts. And that's my little wrapped loop. There is a little tail end still sticking up there, so I'm just going to press that down. There you go. Now I'm going to slide on my lovely crystal bead and let that fall to the bottom of the wrap. And then I'm going to make my wrap loop on the other side. So usually when I'm turning a loop, I want to turn it really close and flush to the bead. In this case, I want to leave a little bit of a gap so I've got space between the bead and the loop to create that wrap on the opposite side. So I'm going to bend again over the top of my pliers, reposition my pliers. So you can see now if I push that bead down, we've got a bit of space between the bead and that bend. Reposition the pliers. So now the pliers are above and below in terms of the jaws. Bring that round. Again, just repositioning my hand just so I can get that all the way across. And then I want to center that loop at the top. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to take the tail end and I'm going to bring it round. And I'm going to wrap about 3 times, or just enough really to fill that space. We want that bead kind of stuck in the middle of the wraps, so there's not much movement on it. It's easier, you can flip your bead over or the loop over just so you can get that right the way round. And I'm just bringing it from the front to the back all the way round to fill that space. Again, if you've got any tail end, you can cut it off. I tend to find that I've got enough just to do those wraps and then tuck that little piece in. And then just check that your loops are centered. So if it's a little bit off kilter, just bring in the round nose pliers and give it a little twist. So I now can connect from the top and the bottom. Sheila says lovely colours and you can really see the shine on them. Did somebody say it was fuzzy? Okay, so I think it isn't as clear as it should be. So I'm just going to do that for all my beads. So I'm going to use 9 beads in total. So again, I'll go through it quickly. I'm going to cut about 2 inches or 6 centimetres, say, of my 0.5 wire. Move that up out the way now. I'm going to hold it fairly far down. So I'm going to leave myself probably about 2 centimetres. Bend it. Twist my round nose pliers just so I can bring that round. So I'm just bringing that wire around the top jaw of the plier and then repositioning my pliers again. So they're now at the side and I can bring that loop in underneath. Center my loop. And sometimes what I like to do is just flick the tail upwards ever so slightly. And that means when I bring that round for the first time, it'll sit nice and close underneath that loop. I'm going around the top, around the back, back over the top again, and around the back. And I'm just going to do that. So I've got at least 3 wraps. If you feel like the wraps have moved out a bit, a little bit of gentle pressure just to push it down. We want to make sure that the wraps are sitting nice and flush underneath each one. Make sure I'm tucking in that tail end. So if need be, just flip it round. It's chaos in my house today. I've got drilling, knocking on the door, saw a child. I thought it was a camera. I need a holiday. If anyone's got one going. There you go. So then on with my bead. And then making my loop on the other side. Going to push that down. I want to keep my loop facing upwards. So when I bend this and turn this loop on the opposite side, my loops are both facing the same direction. Swapping into my less dominant hand, just so I can bring that tail of the wire up and around to the front, to the back, little half turns, just to fill that space. If I feel like I have enough of that space filled, I can come in and cut off any excess wire and make sure I tuck down that little end tail. Sometimes I think it's just easier to keep it in the round nose pliers just to give you a little bit of purchase while you tuck that in. And I'm just not putting any pressure on the bead, just the wire itself, just to get that nice and snug. So now, once I've made all 9 of my beads, so 2 on the top, I said I'd have 3 in the middle and 4 across the bottom in the order that I want. It's just a case of assembling them together now. So I'm going to take these 2 lovely floral connectors that I've got. They've got 3 loops on the bottom and 1 loop at the top. And I'm going to take my 6x1 jump rings to attach them onto the chain. So I'm going to take 2 pairs of pliers and I'm going to open up my jump ring by giving it a little twist towards me to open, and I'm going to attach that onto the top link or the top loop, and I'm going to add on my chain. So the chain has got, you can see these lovely ovals, you can't see, some lovely ovals and like little, I suppose, dog bones kind of shapes, like little figure of 8s almost in between the link, and I think they really just echo the shape on that connector, not the oval but the smaller link joining it. So I'm going to close that up. So cut your chain to the length that you would like. I'm using 30 centimeters in total, or 12 inches, and I'm just making sure it's even on both sides. I'm also making sure I'm attaching onto that larger oval link rather than the smaller little 8 shaped link in this figure 8 chain. I'm going to need the other connector, so just at the top loop here, so it's almost kind of triangular shaped, and then I'm going to close that over, making sure my jump rings are closed properly. And then if you want to, you can add the clasp at this stage as well. So I'll be taking another 6x1 outer diameter jump ring and sliding 1 through the opposite end of a piece of that chain. And then I'll do the same on the opposite chain, but attach my clasp onto this one. So give it a little twist open, sliding through the link, the last link on the chain, attaching on my clasp and closing the clasp over to make sure it's fully closed. The jump ring over to make sure it's fully closed. So the clasp now can just hook into that jump ring, and that will go at the back of my necklace. And now all I need to do is attach these sections onto the middle. So to attach the top one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out these little, they look more like little sweeties or bows to me. So I'm going to take my 2-hole connector. I'm going to attach one of those there, and then I'm going to have 3 in the middle, and then attach to my other bead and another one on that side. So that's going to be how I form my first section. Connector, bead, 3 connectors, bead and a connector, and I'm going to join these together with the slightly smaller jump ring. So I've got some 5x1 jump rings here. I'll get some of those out. So they're just a little bit smaller but still nice and strong and sturdy, and I'm going to connect those onto each other. So I've got a little section there already, so I'll use that one just to make sure I had enough of these left over to demonstrate with. And I'm going to connect my smaller jump ring and one of the beads and then give that a little close over, making sure my jump rings are fully closed. And then I'm going to connect that to, I'm going to refer to them as bow connectors or sweeties. But it's a 2-hole connector. It's got like a little rounded bead in the middle, almost. And then I'm going to give that a little close over. And then I've got 3 of those 2-hole connectors in the center. I'm going to go through with a 5x1 jump ring to my other bead. So I'm just connecting through the wrap loops that I've made. Then attaching to another of the connectors, and these connectors are the same either side, so don't worry about which way you're picking them up. There's no like front or back to them. However, the connectors that are attached to the chain with the 3 holes at the bottom, they do have a front and a back. So the back has just got that lovely kind of, looks like melted metal, and the front you've got lovely little flowers and kind of scroll detail on it. So when we attach that, we want to make sure we're attaching that the right way. And to attach it, all we're going to do is, now we've got our first links attached to the first row, or the top row, we're just going to attach that on with another one of those jump rings. I want to make sure that I'm closing them properly. So I take the jump ring, those 2 points, slightly past the point where they meet, so it will spring back closed, and I know they're fully aligned. Little twist to open, link my parts and components together. So I'm going on this link here, the top one, or the one that will sit on the innermost loop, and give it a little wiggle to make sure it's closed. If it's not fully closed, just take it back and give it another little wiggle. So that is my top row. I just position it like so. Morning, Angela, how are you doing? Just seeing if I've missed any questions. Think everything's okay. Right, now I'm going to put 3 of my beads on the next row. So to do that, I'm going to use one of the little sweetie connectors and then another one. So I'm now going to connect with 2. Then I'm going to add a bead, then a connector, then a bead, then a connector, then a bead, and then 2. And that's going to be a little bit longer than the top one. So that's going to sit a little bit lower around the kind of neckline. So connector, connector, bead, connector, bead, connector, bead, connector, connector. So again, to connect them together, I'm just going to take my jump rings and I'm going to attach one onto the other. So I tend to lay them out in the order that I want to connect them onto first. And then it's just a case of picking them up from the mat and joining them together. If I do one at a time, I should get the order in which I want them. But you can change the placement on this if you want to. If you think, actually, I want to have a different amount of connectors or more beads and less connectors. You just want to make each row slightly longer than the last one, and that's why I'm increasing the beads and I'm changing the order of the connectors around a little bit. So now I'm going to add my first bead on and close that up. I should have probably opened up some of my jump rings first, but it's not a long project. It doesn't take very long to do. I think the most time consuming thing will just be making your wrap loops. And you could, if you didn't want to do wrap loops, you could of course make these on eye pins and just do a double connector either side. I do have some eye pin projects coming up, but I thought it might be nice to to demonstrate with some wrap loops today. A technique that I do think is fundamental to jewellery making. Once you've got that perfected, there's so many different things you can do in terms of making your jewellery. I think I particularly like this colour mix together. So now all I need to do is connect on another 2 of my little bows. I'm going to need to get some more jump rings out. So connector, connector bead, connector bead, connector bead, connector, connector. Morning Tina, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining me. If you are just coming in, I'm making the Patrice crystal necklaces. I've got these absolutely gorgeous 8mm beads, little sweetie shaped kind of 2-hole connectors, and well, I suppose these are 4-hole kind of multi-row connectors. And you could do a bracelet with these as well. If you wanted to do a bracelet, keep the same amount of links and beads in the center and use those. That would be really, really pretty. You know, you've got enough to make 2 here. So if you wanted to make a necklace and then you wanted to make a matching bracelet, that is absolutely, you know, possible to do. Apologise if you can hear lots of noise in the background. I'm hoping it's worse for me than it is for you. And I'm hoping the camera's okay. Get that a little bit more focused. Okay, so now all I need to do is connect this onto the middle row. So my jump ring going through the end, and then the middle loop on the connector, and closing it up again. And then the same on the opposite side. You can attach a chain on at the end if you prefer, and if you just want to do the center part of your necklace, giving that jump ring a little wiggle just to get it nice and aligned to begin with, so I know it'll close when I bring them back together. Again, going through the little bow part, just give that a little further opening, hooking that through the center loop. I'll bring this up close so you can see what I'm doing, and giving that a little turn to close. So that is my second section now complete. Now for my last section, I'm going to go connector, connector, connector. So 3 connectors this time. Then I'm going to do my bead. Then I'm going to do another connector. Then I'm going to do my bead and another connector and a bead and another connector. So I've got my 4 beads, and then I'm going to start with 3 and finish with 3 on this side. So start connecting them together. I'm going to connect the connectors. I'm using the smaller jump rings still, just attaching them together with one of the jump rings. So 3 connectors on together. Just passing that through one of the little holes at the end. And then we're going to attach on my first bead. So I've got that gorgeous sky blue one now. And I'm just going to hook that through one of the holes, or loops rather, that I've made in my wrap loop. And then I'm going to connect that onto another one of the 2-hole connectors. Attaching to my next bead. So I'm just working along it, laying it out on the table or on my mat so I know how I want it. It's just a case of picking up my jump rings and attaching them together. So I'm going to have a connector, just one this time, in between each bead until I've attached 4 beads together. So I'm just alternating between connector and bead. So I'm going to add on my last lilac bead that I've chosen my colourway. And then adding on my last bead, my 4th bead for this row, which is the sky blue. The very, very shimmery. And then all I need to do is connect another 3 connectors onto this side. Again, it's really nice when you have a connector or a component that is kind of reversible, like the same on each side, so I don't have to worry about which way they're facing, as long as I can attach them on together. Give it a little wiggle to close. And that completes this section on my bottom row. And then I connect that on to both ends of those 2 connectors. So just give my jump ring a little wiggle to open. Slide it on through onto that bottom section on one side. And again on the top one, little wiggle to open. And now my necklace is fully complete. Do love the mix of those colours. So it will hang looking like that. All connected, says Camille. Yeah, all done. I'll pop this one on the bust. I've got an autumnal jumper on today, so I don't really think it'll show it off to the best of its ability. Look, my jumper's got a fox as well. There you go. So you can see how that will sit and how that will look. Now it's all made. Very, very, very sparkly. So your kits today, if you want to head over to Totally Beads, our website is totallybeads.co.uk. That is where we have all of our lovely kits for all our wonderful makes that we're all making with you each week. So these are called Patrice crystal necklaces. We have it in aquamarine, lilac, plum, and sky blue. So the colour of your crystals, your 8mm crystals, will change, but all your findings remain the same. Using a little bit of 0.5mm wire to create those wrapped loops. And we've got, I'm using for this design, 9 beads in total and 30 centimetres or 12 inches of chain. You've got that gorgeous chain as well. If you want anything else, or adding anything else in, if you think, I love that figure of 8 chain, I want to get some more of that, you can add that extra into your basket. But each of your kits are going to make up 2 lovely necklaces today for just £11.24. So they're the Patrice crystal necklaces. I'm going to, because as I say, I know he desperately wants to come and say hello. Francis? Do you want to come and say hello? He's on his way. He has been sulking because I told him, no, I'm working. You can't come on. I don't know how I've managed to make my screen massive. Let me take this one off. Let me take this one off. There you go. Look at him. He looks so poorly, doesn't he? Bless him. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got lots of people saying good morning, saying that the necklaces look very pretty. I think that's everything. So would you like to give everybody a wave? So I'm going to be back with you on Wednesday. It's Monday today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, back on Wednesday. I think I'm making bracelets with you on Wednesday. Joanne says I must give this a go. I also found a really gorgeous piece in my stash from Totally Beads that these are going to come in handy for. Rachel says she loves the beads. Thank you, and everybody's sending you lots of well wishes. And do you know who this is?
Nanny.
Is Nanny. Nanny's giving you a heart. And Joanne says, feel better, Frank. So thank you very, very much for your well wishes.